single game in the first week was in 2019 spring when we dropped 4 games until we beat Rogue and started the split 1-5.
There you go.
1-4. Well, yeah, actually 1-5, yeah, after 3 weeks.
And we
And we
we
still ended at 13, no, 12-6 or something, so, you know.
guys, keep your hopes up. Fnatic is gonna win. Maybe not today, but we're gonna win eventually. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess that's that's
um,
that's a good point.
but just to give you an idea of what we'll be going through today, we'll be going through the first few days, see, you know, what teams or players stood out for us, good performances, unexpected team showings, and then obviously we'll go over the first uh, difficult first few days for Fnatic. And we'll bring one of you guys in, maybe a couple of you actually, depending on the time we have, just so you can share your opinion on the question we asked today. That is it already time to ring the alarm for Fnatic? Should we already substitute the academy team over? Or is it just the first days and we should just chill, see how
Take it slow.
see how things go over, and then we'll quickly go over this week's predictions and next week as well. Doc, anything
Okay.
you want to add into this?
No, not really. I think we can jump right into it, into the first week, the first 2 days of the first week.
Go ahead, Doc. What you got?
And I think I'm not like just shortly on Fnatic again. I think it's not surprising that we dropped the first game, which we often do because we then win the second game on the second day. But dropping the game yesterday felt a lot harder. But looking at the other teams that played, I think when we were talking last week about the teams, especially the teams like SK, Vitality, Axel, we didn't put them that highly. I think we both had Vitality barely making top 6, but other than that, and for me, especially SK with 4 rookies was a big surprise on the
Yeah,
first 2 days.
yeah.
They played Astralis and G2 yesterday, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they had even a good showing against G2,
Yeah, for
who
sure.
should have come in super, super hot,
Mm-hmm.
and especially Blue stands out there to me, the mid laner. Um, Played Victor against Astralis and Silas against G2,
Mm-hmm.
and even was close to solo killing Caps
Yeah,
on
yeah,
level
that's true.
3
That's
or
true.
something. And
Yeah, yeah.
like having the balls, I think that's the good way to put it, having the balls to go for that one-on-one that
Mm-hmm.
early against the best mid, well, let's say one of the 2 best mid laners of the LEC right now, because there's also last in the conversation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was really impressive. I was actually surprised. His stats are good. He has a 15 KDA, first 2 games showing off. Played Nuke Duck, who's also a veteran despite dropping his form. I think SK was definitely underestimated on my end. So I see success for them. They can make it.
Yeah, I gotta agree on that part, and especially on Blue. I was hearing some stuff like, oh, he's like overrated or already being memed because I believe he was in how'd you call it, the All Stars in 2020, right? I believe he was in there. He was voted as one of the Turkish
I'm
players.
actually not sure. Yeah, maybe
But
actually
yes,
maybe.
and he didn't necessarily have like the best of showing there, so people were
Mm,
like memeing on him. But yeah, if I'm just looking back at the rankings real quickly, and back to your point, I had SK in eighth, and you have them in
mm.
10th, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. 10th or 9th or something like really low.
for
Yeah.
sure. And for me, like Blue's definitely looking good, and he's got some really amazing like showing, like you said, like having the balls to go against caps like this.
Yep.
I was like, if he's gonna 1v1 him, he's already gonna have massive narrative behind him. It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's the next
Yeah.
caps and things like this.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, definitely interesting to see how Blue looks. For me in particular, it was Vander. I mean, he's not a rookie whatsoever, but he keeps going on that trend of how well he played on Rogue and how much of an element he was there. And I feel now in that new team of Misfits, he's really unlocking them. I mean, against us, he was absolutely massive. I think he won something like
Yeah.
1-1 in 19.
Yeah.
And even in their loss was against Vitality yesterday. He still like played really well in his Alistar. I mean, albeit Alistar is a bit bullshit right now, but still, he was like really, really good. So I think like Vander is gonna be like a key piece for Misfits, and already like his connection with Kobe seems to be much better than whatever DOS was able to bring. And then obviously, I mean, you can't compare to the Nick who didn't really have much play time. They
They
kept.
didn't have the shot, yeah.
I know exactly. So I don't know. DOS was definitely not working out, even though apparently, from what I heard, it was a preference from Kobe to have him on the team. And then I don't know, Vander's just kind of. I mean, this guy's been around for so long. He's just like
Yeah, he
plug
has
and
the
play.
experience. Yep,
Exactly. And he
should be.
fits in with Kobe, who's also like a veteran now.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to see how he played and how well they worked together. And then obviously looking at teams, I'm just gonna go back to what I said last week, and I'm gonna have a big smirk on my face, saying that Vitality is gonna be the dark horse of this tournament, man. It's gonna be the dark horse of this tournament. They almost won against Schalke. It was such a tight game. Like they were at the door of Schalke, and then I
Yep.
guess maybe the lack of experience or thing like this made it that it just turned around. Trading Elder for Nexus, that's a strat
It
that
was not worth, yeah.
yeah, that's a bit of a TSM strat, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they played really well against Misfits. Sigenda's been really good, both on like tanks and carries. Like he was on the Renekton and he was
Mm.
on Ornn.
Mm.
Labrov on Fresh. Oh my god, this dude is insane. This dude is absolutely insane. Like, oh my god, he's gonna be like top 3 supports if he keeps going on, and he's just gonna be insane. And even Skeens, we spoke about Skeens last time, not
Yeah,
being,
a lot.
a lot, and it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily exciting to have him on the team, but I don't know. I think either the team's meshing super well and he's showing up, but he had some really, really good performances so far. So I don't know if you have any other guys who stood up to you
I
for this
I
first
I
days.
want I want to just point out, because you're calling Vitality a dark horse here, or potential dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
It raises the question to me: does that mean that Misfits is bad and Fnatic lost to just a not like a lucky shot, or just performed worse on the day? But do we really think that Vitality can be a dark horse when they just lost to Schalke in like a really tight game that they should have won, in my opinion? And then beat the Misfits that maybe had like a lucky shot against Fnatic destroying them the way they did. Because I think even though Vander brings a lot to Misfits, I'm not sure if like what Misfits is the Misfits we will see throughout the split.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the Misfits we saw against Fnatic, or the Misfits we saw against Vitality, because I think there was a huge difference in performance,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Mm-hmm.
from VTO.
Yeah.
Also from Razork, he didn't like do or had the same impact he had against Fnatic, and even Hyrid, who played Renekton again and this time just lost.
Yeah. Lost
And
really hard.
I'm not really sold on your take of that Vitality could be Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
I think there should be, or we could take a look at that again after week 3 or 4, where we have seen 6-8 games of the team.
Yeah.
Because if they keep up the performance, and even if they lose to teams like G2 or Rogue, but if they lose in a manner that shows that they have potential, and like if there's just 1 or 2 minor mistakes that made a difference in those games, then I
Mm-hmm.
think there is potential, and I would agree to call them a dark horse. But otherwise, I'm not entirely sold on that point. If it's just a fluke, or if they actually can keep up that name, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's actually a good point that you make, because I mean, especially after this week, like I believe today they're facing Astralis. So again, it's not going to be the game where you're going to be able to really judge them.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah,
it was
exactly.
just the feeling of like being like a cohesive unit and making some good like
Mm.
map plays, and then within that some good like highlight plays from Sigenda, or especially Labrov yesterday on his fresh. For me, he was just outstanding. Really,
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
really exciting to see how this guy develops. But on Viteo especially, I think Vitality was much smarter than us. Then that first of all, they didn't give him his you know best champion, which was Zoe, and on top of that, they hard focused
Yeah.
him. So they just like jumped on him every occasion they
Yeah.
had, and like I don't remember which score he ended with, but they just completely they just stopped
What
him from
score
playing
who
the
ended
game.
with?
I think he went on like I wouldn't say negative KDA, but he had like quite a bit of deaths, but just because
Oh, you
Vitality was
mean
key.
video?
Video, yeah. Let
Give
me
me a
see.
second, I have it open.
Yeah,
It's 142.
yeah. See, so they just completely piled on him,
Yeah.
and Melita had a really good game. Labrov had a really good game.
Skeens had a really good game.
Skins had
Siganda
an
is a tank here.
amazing game on
Yeah, it
Talia.
was good.
So it's we'll see. Viteo had like a very first like opening game, then had an off game. Hear it
Yeah.
again. I think he got confident on like the Renekton and said, "Oh, I beat Buipo, so surely I can do it again." And then it didn't
I
happen.
guess.
It didn't happen. But we'll see how they do. I think you're right in saying that it will be important to see how they do in the next few weeks. If I pick up the schedule here, so next week they'll be facing.
They play us.
Oh, they play us. Oh my God, no!
Yeah.
They play
Yeah.
us. They play Rogue. Okay, so two big games, and then they
Yeah.
play G2. Okay, so actually, I think going after week 3, they will have faced who are potentially the top 3 teams. I don't know if we
Mm.
should still have Fnatic in there after the abysmal start, but let's keep our hopes up. But yeah, normally should be fine on this, and we'll see if even they face Mad Lions on the last day of the third week. So we could maybe
Yeah,
at,
they
at
have.
the at the end we can go back to this, and if they're still like in a positive win rate, then I'll be back gloating. You know me. I'll be there like I told you, Doc. I
Yeah,
told
I
you
think those 4 games will say a lot about Vitality, I feel like.
for sure.
Because the game today against Astralis, I mean, looking at the performance of Astralis at the first 2 games was like it wasn't fun to watch.
No.
It was I thought it was atrocious, and I think Astralis is like making a good run to maybe even be the first team to go like 0-18,
Mhm.
because if they do not pick it up, and I don't see them picking it up, then this will be a really hard split for them. So Vitality should beat them.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Zanzara to be honest, because he's
Yeah,
having
same.
like good performance on his own, but
Mm,
and I
not
think
enough.
he's like good in it. Like they have a decent early game, but as
Mm,
soon as they just lose the plot, it's all over the place. It's just all
yeah,
over the place.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, first overviews. It's only the first week so far, and for people listening right now, maybe you have some of your ideas. Who do you have as
Yeah, share your opinions.
yeah.
We're
You've
oh.
got the channel, you've got the chat for you, community dash podcast. Just type in there, exchange. It's
Yeah, we're always looking at it.
we won't judge you, but yeah, let us know what you think of this first week. The other teams except Fnatic. Actually, maybe it's time for us to get serious and talk about Fnatic. You
Dude,
know,
I
I mean, you're
I
saying you
cannot.
knew it, but yeah.
I mean, as always, like my heart is saying, or my heart wants Fnatic to win, but then my brain is like, it's a new split. It's 2 big changes in the team. Even though like you can argue Nemesis Neski isn't a big of a change, but Reckless Upset is a bigger one,
Hmm.
and like my head was like, there's no way that they can beat Rogue in the first week, because I
Hmm.
think Rogue just comes in and came in so much harder than Fnatic, with
Yeah.
Odo Amne doing his job, pulling his weight, Inspired performing, Larsen performing, um, like Hansama performing. It was just so good. Even Trimby, like the rookie of the team, who was like, is he really gonna stand up a chance against the experience of the likes of Saying and Upset in the bot lane, for example? And he did well. Like, I did not expect him. Like, I was hoping for him to do well, because I think having new supports in the league and promising supports in the league is really
Mm-hmm.
good for the league, because we're really, like, I think the weakest player pool we have is the support role.
Sure, for sure.
And having another player coming in hot like Trimby is really good for LEC overall. So I was not surprised that Rogue won. I was surprised by the fashion in which Misfits beat us, because I think that was absolutely unnecessary. Weepo's Gragas was atrocious to watch. Like, I feel like whenever there was a team fight and he could have had a really good ult, he always ulted like 0.2 seconds before Xayah came out of ult and then knocked away back, and nothing happened to Xayah, and it was just such a hard misplay on his end. And then there was the stream highlight that was shared around where he was talking about it, and he was like, I think his overconfidence about it even was so annoying to watch. Like he said that in lane he was super fine level 1 to 5 and didn't have to use TP anything, but yeah, being even in lane or something is fine and all, but god, if you cannot pull your fucking weight in team fights, you're just useless, and he was useless. So it
Yeah.
wasn't good, and I'm usually not the flip-flopper type of guy, but if Weepo does this again, I don't think they beat Schalke today. And that would make me really sad, because I think we should easily beat Schalke.
Yeah, and I think we already need a win this first week. You know, even if we just go 1-2, it's like we need a bit of redemption, man. Because come on, we from what we heard prior to going into the first week is that there's already good team synergy. You know, Yamato's already doing his job of bringing the players together. We have the same mindset of. Wanting to be super aggressive, like full LPL style. Like as soon as an enemy sneezes somewhere, we just like jump on him, and it's like 5 of us and 10 TPs at the same time. But what's happened there is that while the aggression is good, and there's been some very good plays, especially in the second game, where we fight around the dragon, and Hilly, for me, I thought Hilly was just suiciding or had disconnecting.
Yeah, I
He's
remember.
just walking into the dragon pit, and I was like, Hilly, what are you doing? You're running it down literally.
Yeah.
But he did it for the Galio ult, and then
Yeah.
like Niski has played really well. Everyone
Yeah, I
was
think so too.
like underrating or straight up trash talking him, like, why would you replace Nemesis with Niski? But in the end, I think he's like one of our best players. And even Upset, I mean, he had some really good plays. Like he had missed position for sure and got a bit greedy. For instance, in the mid lane against Rogue, I believe, where he got
Mm,
jumped on. But I mean, he still had a 1v1 kill, ADC versus ADC in the bot lane. So like his skills are in check. There's no problem here. I just think for me, there's like two big issues. Is that Bwipo needs to basically step up big because the rest of this team is stepping up. Selfmade didn't have a great first game, but the second game was much better. Niski
yeah, I
has
think
been
so
for
too.
me the best player so far. Upset has had some good performances. Hilly Sang, his engages for me are like really good. It's just the Brom pick I didn't really understand, but they've
Same.
probably prepared it, but I haven't seen it so far in LPL, LCK, or even LCS. Or haven't even seen it brought up as in one of the
Mm,
best support picks. So, but he
yeah,
somewhat
definitely.
made it work. He's pretty good on Brom, but Mbuepo, like abysmal Gragas performance. Whatever way he wants to twist it, he was still like 30, 40 CS behind against a rookie top laner. When we just saw prior on that same day, how do you call it? We saw, I mean, obviously Wunder's the best top laner, but he was just like unkillable against Armut on his Renekton, and it's like, oh, what are you, little crocodile, little
Yeah.
lizard? Go away, and
Yeah.
just beating him on a 1v1 with full tank items. You know how
Yeah.
disgusting that is. But
Yeah.
at the same time, um, the Volibear. See, that's the thing. It's like the Braum and the Volibear pick. There has to be, I guess, some idea
I
behind it.
this Volibear pick, I didn't even notice that he built Trinity Force, and when someone mentioned it in the LoL Esports chat today,
Yeah,
I
as
was
well.
like,
Yeah.
that is impossible. And I looked at it, I'm like, no way he did that. And then I went to check the stats of like Challenger Grandmaster and what is
Hmm.
typically built on Volibear, and I think like even just looking at the item, I
It's the
think it's
Bami
really
Cinders
bad.
items, yeah?
Or you can go Bamiston items. You can either go like the Frozen Fist,
Or
whatever the name of it is
isn't
that is off
Frozen
the top.
Fist with the Bami Cinder, or is that.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's one
Yeah.
of those. Or you can also go Chem Tank or even Sunfire Cape. But
Yeah.
if you really want the sheen, you go Divine Thunderous,
Giant Cinder, yeah.
because it's by far, I think, the best
Of
solo
course.
lane sheen item. it's not even close to Trinity Force, and I think it's such a waste to go Trinity Force because he will never utilize the 10% attack speed he gets from it from per item,
I know.
and the Divine Thunder at least has a useful mythic to Volibear, or even the Ice Spawn slow is just
Yeah.
way better, and I'm really not sure why he went for it.
Hmm.
Captain Boomer is showing his stats right now.
Yeah.
That's just yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Trinity
exactly
Force
what you said, yeah, and
below
then
1.2%. I'm like,
yeah.
it's so dumb. I don't even know why he picked it. He didn't even shine a lane or anything. Like not even for fighting would have made sense. It's just I think it was atrocious. It was a bad build. It was not a good game. I really question that pick
No.
overall as well.
And we just got demolished in the end, like
Yeah,
in terms of not only kills, but you look at the objectives, goal difference,
yeah,
monsters, and I mean Drake and Baron, like they got full for Drake. Like it's just like what's going on? And at the
mm.
same time, it's like we have that amazing like first fight where Niski gets like a 2-3 man taunt. Like he was really good on that Galio. He always managed to
Yeah. He,
turn
he
things
he
around,
tried.
but
Yeah,
but we didn't have the damage, so it didn't really
yeah,
even matter
exactly.
in the end.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah.
with that said, one thing, reading at some of the tweets, looking at some of the listening to Bwipo's Twitch, even if he has some opinions about how he played, what's been said about the team is that it's not reflective of their real performance, and thank God for that. But at the same time, it feels like, and I think a selfmate has said that in one of his tweets, it's like at least they're going in the same direction. And
Yeah, like it felt like the apes together strong. Like yeah, that I feel like that was actually the way for Fnatic, just apes together strong.
mm,
If Hilly goes in, if Beeper goes in, everyone just runs in no matter how
mm,
far behind you are. Which in the past, I guess in 2018 we had games like that as well, and it worked out. But I think right now there's just if you fall behind on gold, it's so hard to come back overall, and it's even harder to come back if you just in together.
mm-hmm.
Like if you are behind, you don't want 5v5s. There's
Yeah.
just no way you want that. Even with the better comp, it's just with how the items changed, I think it's impossible to 5v5 when
Ah, for
behind.
sure.
And I think Fnatic just showed that perfectly, and it just made me so mad that they even tried it again and again and again. No matter what happened, they just ran in and then just horribly died, and it just got worse and worse.
I just think they need to tone down their aggression on that aspect. It's like the early aggression is not too bad, but there's been a lot of fights where some of the teams are low HP and one of them is going back in. Usually Buipo, when he's on the
Mm.
Gragas, I remember that fight in the bot side jungle on the blue side,
Mm.
and we were winning, and then Buipo decides to go back in, and it's like you've got two of your teammates who are less than 25% HP, and then there was
Yeah.
another instance where he was in his Volibear, and that was in like the Drake River, just in the entrance of the red jungle on that side, and
Mm.
he decides to chase and completely like isolates slash blocks himself instead of just joining the team, regroup, and then go in as a block as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think miscommunication. Not really sure of like how aggressive they really want to be. They want to be aggressive. We get that for sure. They want to be aggressive, but it's like
Yeah.
how much aggression
But
do you want to get
but
in?
not with a
Yeah.
late game comp, just like Hollow Pride just
Yeah.
posted in the chat. It's actually I think that's one of the big problems as well. The draft that didn't match the execution of the comp.
Yeah.
Like if you draft a late game comp, why do you fucking fight before you have two items?
Mhm.
Like if you get a good engage, yeah, maybe okay, you can win a small fight. But if you go for full blown out 5-on-5s before you have two items, before your comp gets actually strong, you just lose it and you just fall so far behind that there's no way you come back. And
Mhm.
it's really annoying.
For sure. And listen, I'm seeing Arvid. He says if I get unmuted, I have some strong statements. Arvid, if you're here, we're actually interested. Make sure to keep it cool. Okay, we're not here to flame. Keep it. Give us a good argument. But yeah, Lydon is here. He has the banhammer ready at any time. So I'm gonna unmute you. If you can just give us the general statement and then go into sort of your argument, I'll be interested to hear. So
Yeah, sure.
Arvid, I'm gonna unmute you. It's your time to shine.
Okay, so first of all, uh, mascot Vitality sucks ass. Astralis is actually the true dark horse of
Okay.
the whole
Okay.
of the whole LEC.
And why is that?
Uh,
Why is that?
uh, bro, have you seen Sanzora? He's like so good.
I,
Who's
I
fucking
I thought it
won?
was a 5-man game. What about the rest of the team?
Bro, we have Goddess Q. He's like three players in one.
I mean,
Okay,
I think that's actually true because he performed like as bad as the three worst players I've ever seen. So,
woo,
like,
Damn.
bro, we got the nuke duck. Ooh, goddamn. Okay, White Knight.
yeah.
He's finished, so it's obvious why he sucks. But okay, what? Okay, so what the real meat and potatoes?
Mhm.
Fnatic's performance. Okay,
Okay.
so Whippo. Ugh, no. People need to stop flaming Hilly, man. Like people say like when Hillisang dies, it's Hillint. No, it's not Hillint when he dies. He just dies. Every player dies. Like he's playing Leona. When he's supposed to be the main engage. When he engages and dies, why are people running Hillint? It's not like he's just going in completely alone. Like he has a team behind him who's probably telling him to go in. And it's so dumb that I hear people be like, "Oh, we gotta kick Hillisang, man." When literally the only true inter was actually Whippo. It's I think it's dumb, and also this might not be about Fnatic's performance, but it's just one of the dumbest like storylines or whatever you call it. One of the just that somehow Reckless was like the rock that always like stopped the int. No, he wasn't. Like whenever Fnatic's teammates inted, they usually lost. The only times that I can solely remember them fucking trolling their asses off and then actually coming back is when Reckless gets a miracle Baron steal, and that's not even like him like being a fucking rock to stop the int. All he did was steal. All he did was steal a Baron, and that miracle can happen to any projectile champion, almost any projectile champion. And so I just hate seeing the argument that Reckless was always the one. Wait,
That's a good point you make, and I'm guessing you're referring to what Odo Amni said in the little match of the week segment. I didn't really understand it as well when he's saying when Reckless is gone, there's no one to stop the int. Like you think there's Reckless, it has 4 leashes, and it's just like back boys, we don't go in, we don't go in. Like for the most time, as far as I know, Reckless would barely talk. Like in the voice comms, you barely hear him, or he'd have like a very tiny voice. And on top, you'd have Weepo like, "Oh, go in," or he's like, good fight, we go in." It's like these two guys were the main guys talking, but
yeah,
you know,
like it's so annoying when I hear that, and then we have people who's like defending like Nemesis, being like, "We are why would you need like an aggressive player? But like when you need to balance out the aggressive players with the passive players. No, because then you just have three guys running into the depth and two guys just standing there and watching them.
no, for sure. And
Like
speaking about Nemesis's replacement, what do you think about Niski or Upset so far? The new
he's
guys.
completely like. Okay, it's hard. You can't top Reckless. It's hard. Like no one should expect him to just come in and just be everything Reckless is, and then two times better than that. That is unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Completely unreasonable. He's playing fine. Like he's not rointing. He's not he's not he's not rointing. The only time he actually kind of into was getting a greedy fucking wave in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
But but like he didn't have any vision, and he probably thought he was fine. Even though yeah, it was a bit questionable and pretty unnecessary. I don't even think he died there. Like I think there was someone else who died there. I think he actually managed to get out,
Yeah, it
get
was
out
Hilly who died
alive.
for him.
Yeah, he's playing Brom. He's supposed to sacrifice himself. Like I don't get it. Like it's so dumb. Niski, he's fine. He's really fine. Like he's actually one of the brightest spots right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Selfmade has been a bit underwhelming, but obviously when your laners are feeding their asses off, it's very hard for a Graves to do anything.
Jungler problems, am I right?
I wouldn't care if jungle is not my main role. Whatever. But like it's just I just get really triggered by that storyline. That Reckless is just there just stopped in. Like No, he wasn't. Like
I
when Fnatic ints, they lose. Reckless, sure maybe Reckless like have some like can team fight decently well, but like no, it's not like what makes them come back. And uh that's kind of it. That's kind of it.
I feel your
Uh,
frustration, Arvid. I feel your frustration.
Astrologers are gonna make a Schalke miracle run. Mark my words.
You heard it here, guys.
you
Think.
heard it. Yeah. I I think what the chat said as well already is that the storyline of Reckless being the Rock, or what Odoamne said, that he's the one stopping the end, I don't think it's to be taken literally. Because I think Reckless has been the most solid and like had the most stable play style over the years. He was consistent as fuck throughout his whole career. Like there were hardly a time where Reckless himself dropped the ball so hard that they lost.
Mm.
And I think it's not meant as in that he's stopping the others from inting, but that he's the one calculating it more and knowing when he can fight and when he can't fight. And if the team, quote unquote, ins, he can sometimes even clean it up and make it look like it wasn't int. Like
Mm.
it's just a play style where um we come into the situation where Hylissang and Bripu are screaming out of on top of their lungs, we can fight, we can fight, we can fight. And Reckless is like, I'm not entirely sure, and he's hesitating. And then what usually happens is because the team isn't strong enough, they aren't full committing, which is bad in itself. But also, even if they fully commit, they just die. And I think that even gives Reckless even less, or gave Reckless less confidence to like participate in these fights when he thought it was a bad fight to take. And I
Oh,
think that is a bit like the main point that was made by the broadcast and by Odoamne.
okay. So okay, and also, what do you mean support is the weakest role in the LEC? That is a false
Who said
statement.
that? Who said stop? Who said support is the weakest role in the LSE?
Oh, I don't know. You said something about
Because
supports, and I
because because
disagree with
because
it.
my only point about supports was that the support player, like the support players we have, is the weakest one. We have, what good supports do we have? We have Mickey X and Hylissang on top by far, or
We have
had.
okay. We have Vander. We have
Yeah,
Kaiser.
Vander
Limit.
has been, yeah,
Foray.
because but
Labrov.
I don't fully agree, because I think even though they're good, like some of them are really good, and I think over the years with Labrov coming in, with Kaiser coming in, who still are kind of new players, because Hylissang and Mikix have been playing in the LEC or ULCS back then for years, and they have more experience than them. Apart from Vander, because he has at least equal experience, and I think while we had big talents come in from every other role, we just now have like that influx of good support players. And yes, Kaiser is good, and yes, Labrov is good, but I have seen Kaiser drop the ball. We have seen Labrov drop the ball really hard. Like they are still getting the experience to get on the same level of a Mickey X, of a Hylissang. And I think having someone like Trimby come in, who has shown big promise on AGO Rogue and EU Masters and the Polish League as a whole, I think he could even get on the level, because I think Trimby is the kind of guy to learn a lot from Hans Sama, who is also experienced. And I just think Trimby can get on a similar level than Hylissang or Mickey X faster. Not saying that the others can't, but faster than the likes of Labrov or Kaiser.
I think that's going to be the
No.
final word here. But anyways, Arvid, thank you for sharing your opinion. Super valuable. We appreciate it here, and you're welcome anytime to give us your hot takes like Astralis is the dark horse.
I like
Yeah.
that one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
it
I'm
was
not
good.
buying into it, but I
More
like it.
more like this. So I'm just gonna put you back in, back out very quickly. Don't worry, it's not gonna hurt. Like this, and like this, and there we go. Perfect. And that's why we have a community podcast. It's okay, Arvid. It's like removing a plaster. You know, you just rip it off really quickly. It pulls a bit on your hair, but you'll be fine. Next person I actually wanted to have on was Yixidian, who had some interesting things to say about our question of today, which was, is it already time to ring the alarm for Fnatic? So same thing for you, Yixi. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to unmute you in 3, 2, 1. Yixi, are you here? I can hear you.
I
I'm
can hear you.
I'm just gonna increase the volume on my side. There we
I'm
go.
gonna do the opposite actually. It's a bit too loud for my liking.
Okay,
Go ahead.
hello you too, hello everyone.
Hello, Yixi. How's it
Um,
going?
Hello there.
so my thought is that everyone forgets the human side of the players. I mean, it's not so easy to like, oh, we are now having two new players, new staff, and everything, and it's like, oh, now we are going to do everything in 2 days. Everything is going to be hunky dory, and we are going to win. That doesn't work that way, in my opinion. I mean, even in real life, when you change your team or whatever, you change your surrounding, you expect like, oh, now I need to change myself to adapt my habits and everything else. You can't expect, oh, now everyone expects us to be like that well-oiled machine. Like, that doesn't work that way. Simple as that. I mean, everything has to change. So adapting, communication, motivation. Baylor had good points earlier when he was the coach. He insisted on communication, on motivation, on planning, on everything. So I think Yamato has that role with Tolki. So I'm expecting a lot from the staff, but I'm not expecting like from the players themselves. They need to synchronize. They need to find that synergy. I'm optimistic on upset Healy. Niski is also doing good, but let's see how the five aggressive styles show together, because self-made upset, everyone is so aggressive. I mean, really,
No, for
in
sure.
my opinion,
Yeah, yeah.
I see five aggressive egos who are going to rush in, kick some butt, and like, what the hell are we going to do? Communicate, guys.
Oh, for sure.
I
I
can't I can't wait to hear the voice comms
Oh, same,
eventually.
same, same, same,
oh, I'm
same.
not I'm not so sure about that
I
one.
want to
But
hear them because
so
it's gonna be interesting. Because it's gonna be like full aggression, and I want to hear if their voices are already like all over the place, or if there's like one or two voices coming out. And I think it's a good point you make. Even if, as Arvid's saying, some people revamp their whole roster, I think or while we just revamped two players, we revamped one of our pillars in Reckless, or one of our star players.
That's true.
And I think
That's
that's a
true.
much bigger change than any other team is doing, and our objectives are much much higher than any other
Mm-hmm.
people. Like we've gone down a bit with Reckless to upset. It's like a different type of playing. Niski is adapting to, well, he's not adapting. He's bringing in a new playstyle that Nemesis didn't have. So, and they're at least, as I said, they're on the same page in terms of their aggression. Now it's how they control their aggression
Exactly.
is how it's
We
gonna
have
work out.
we have five extremely aggressive types,
Yeah.
five extremely aggressive guys. So I hope Yamato is going to control the nutcases.
Yeah. I think definitely
Oh,
the Yamato and Toki duo will be interesting. So far, I've
yeah.
not necessarily been impressed by their drafting. They've been leaving a lot of big, important picks to their opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the Twisted Fate, Zoe for Vetio, which was one of his best champions as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I think today will give us a bit more of an answer. But I think you had something to say, Doc.
I think they're just looking at this like practice,
Mm,
because
scrims.
yeah, exactly. I think they are just treating this as practice. What to expect from other teams? Let's play like, let's synchronize to the best we can. Let's treat it as practice, and then as we go, we are going. So I don't expect, being that we are in a pandemic situation and everything else is going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's added mental pressure. I'm not so expecting uh, about this split. I mean, this is the first week. Of course, we are going to go and go and go and go and go. So, but I'm not so high in expectations like, oh God, we need to win.
But
We need to work first. Like you said, Scotty, we lost Reckless. I mean, key player, yes. Okay. I've been monitoring Fnatic since season 1.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got an OG
So
fan here.
yeah, so I mean, really, when when we change rosters, it's like the synergy point and everything changes. That's the key. So it doesn't make sense to go like expecting from people, oh, he needs to fill someone's boots. He needs to give his own and to make his own thing. Yes, there's Reckless, there's his legacy, there's him being branded a traitor, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, really. But yeah, we are writing something new here. Stop living in the past. This is now, not, oh, we miss Reckless, we miss Caps, we miss this, we miss that. We have Fnatic now. This is important now, not the old glory. If we lived in the old glory, oh, bring back Yellow Star Cyanide, XPK, and so on, and let's go.
If only.
I mean, really.
I
That's
think
my
my
that's my take on it.
I think my personal problem, I guess, with your take as a whole is that I think as we are Fnatic fans, I think the expectations for the org as a whole are a lot higher than for other orgs. For example, if SK brings in 4 new players and they didn't perform well last year, you don't expect him to suddenly like be a top 6 contender at all. And I think for Fnatic, it's actually the opposite, because you have a team that has won several titles, who has competed for the titles over and over and over, even if they lost it, and who have shown that they are or always have been at least a top 2 team.
Yes,
Except if we leave out 2016, that was just atrocious as a whole. So
true
just leave that
that.
one out.
This year never existed.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I think it's worth mentioning that the expectation for Fnatic from the fans, and I think the organization itself for the league team, are a lot higher than for
yes,
other
I
teams,
agree.
and that we should also, like, the players know that as well. When they join, they know how high the pressure is to be on Fnatic.
Yep, true there. True
Um,
there.
I think I'm
True
lagging
there.
right now, so it's a bit confusing to me.
You're still good
True
on my
there.
side.
Okay, I'm good with my mic. Okay, good. That's fine. So I think therefore it's hard to say there's a human side to it, and we should think about how the team needs to build synergy and everything, because I feel like as experienced players coming in, that was also said in the chat, like Niski and Upset are not rookies. They know how to play the game. They know how the team environment should work. They have their own ideas to play with, of course, but it should be a bit of plug and play. And I feel like in recent years, Fnatic had the exact same issue with, which was when a new player came in, they always struggled a lot early on, and only started to find success once they had that one strategy that worked for them, and that they played this one style for the whole year. And once it was figured out, like, they lost in finals to G2 because apparently they are the only team who can figure out how to beat the Fnatic style. And which is kind of crazy to me, because I feel like if G2 can figure it out, then other teams could figure it out as well. And I'm not sure why they can't, or even if they can, if they're just not able to execute that as properly as G2 does. So, and that's not a working strategy for a team in the long term if you want to win titles. If you just have one strategy that you play for the whole year, and we've heard this from Reckless before, for example, who said we have this one style we play, or this one idea how to play the game, and then it just drops down once it's figured out, and it's not how you find success. And I think that's something Fnatic needs to work on as a whole, to be like more diverse in their strategies. And if they cannot find this diversity they need, and if they just find this one style again, we run into the same issue that we have had for the last 2 years, and even before that. We have one style, and then the latest in finals, we play G2, and it's just doomed, because they know how to play against it, and we just go 0-3 or get reverse sweep anything. And so
Well,
what I want
here
to
we
say
have.
really is I think is that it's not like it's fair to say there's a human side to it and that there's a lot going on right now with the pandemic and everything, but that the players knew that beforehand. The players knew what organization they're joining. They knew the expectations of the team, the staff, the organization, and the fans. And I think putting it down to like, oh, they just need to find a synergy. Yeah, but they need to find it fast because it's still just, it's like 18 games is a lot as a whole, but the longer you struggle to find an identity, to find your strategy, the longer you will not find the success and just not
And
have the moral to keep it up.
that's why I think they are looking at these games like first week as practice,
Mm.
because they started late screens.
I mean, actually, they
And
started early.
Compared to other seasons,
well,
they did start
Yeah,
at the end of
compared to other
December.
seasons, they
Yeah.
started
yeah,
actually super early, which was a
early,
big
yeah,
surprise to me. And I thought that would be a big factor in them actually coming out swinging. And then the
yeah.
Misfits game happens, the shortest game of the split so far. I mean, they've only been 10, but it's still
They swung
something
too
that.
hard. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
They
yeah,
swung
yeah.
too
They swung
hard.
too hard. So I don't know.
But
I
still,
just.
I think this is practice. They are looking at this like, oh, we are practicing now, and then we are going to go like hell mode. So I'm eager to see what happens. I'm
Yeah, same.
not I'm not I'm not expecting too much, but I am expecting them to go hell mode after this practice mode, let's say. I think they're going to snap out of it. I mean, if we don't if they don't have strategy with five aggressive guys, I mean, I expect variations to snap, 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 snap with five aggressive guys who are probably going, "Oh, I'm the shot caller." No, I am. I can only imagine the voice comms.
That'll be interesting to hear during the next
Oh,
week, for
I
sure.
can expect I can expect shouting from five aggressive guys.
For
Who
sure.
are who are you going to listen to? Self-Paid, Niski, Upset, Hilly. I expect a lot of shouting.
I mean, I think what we've seen in the two games is that the most dominant voices seem to be Bwipo and Hylissang,
Yeah.
as I feel like they have been before as well. And
Mm.
I'm not sure, like, I think the point of having five aggressive players is valid. I just don't think that translated to voice comms. I don't really think that Niski or Upset, like, in comparison to how talkative Bwipo and Hylissang are,
Mm.
did they keep up with that or have, like, these
Understated.
loud voices?
How talkative. Oh boy.
I'm just not fully sure that like even maybe in their old teams they were super communicative and talked a lot. I'm not sure it's really necessary right now, or if they're not doing it to try to find an identity and still figuring out who should be a shot caller and who shouldn't really. Which would then apply again to your point of it just being a training mode like scrims to figure out what the best solution is for the team.
I think they're looking at this like practice. I think we are just going to see what's coming next.
And we'll have to have a look at the third game today.
Yep.
Yixi, appreciate your input again.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just gonna move
Thank
you
Scott. Thank you,
outside.
Scotty. Thank you, Doc, for having me.
No problem, Yixi.
Of course.
Come back anytime. And there we go. Right, guys, I'm just going to accelerate things. Thank you for your inputs in the chat. For the people who came in, Arvid, Yixi, we appreciate it. Once again, this podcast is for the community, so we're interested in hearing your voices. Just a quick point I actually wanted to say about having that single style, and just before we move to the predictions, is that I don't know if any one of you have read the article from Monster Energy blog, website, whatever, but Yamato actually addressed that thing in saying that he doesn't want to have that single style or have the, patching style where if something goes wrong, we just find another way to go around it, and then again, as you said, Doc, if it gets figured out, we get screwed over. But he wants to be like more flexible and variable in the way we play. He wants to play different styles. He doesn't want to have this patch up approach. So that's good to hear. We'll just have to see if they're actually able to apply it. But now, with that said, guys, LEC is starting soon, so I don't want to hold you guys too much. Already appreciate your time here. I'm just going to do a quick update on the situation.
Oh, I actually
Effective.
shortly want to add,
Yeah.
Yamato Ken didn't get a warning for wearing a tracksuit. If you haven't seen his tweet, it was for his head.
Oh, for his hat?
Yeah, for his head.
Really? That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
apparently.
That's so funny.
Right officials have clarified that it was for the head.
Well, anyways, that's quite funny. Here's the standings so far. Doc is
I love
leading.
them. I love them personally.
Doc is leading because he's a non-believer. I mean, right? You're
Not
okay.
because
Yeah,
of-
rightfully so.
I'm-
Shut up. But still, you're a non-believer for someone that's in a Fnatic podcast. But nonetheless, he's.
Do you want me to post the predictions into the community podcast channel?
You can if you want.
Yeah, I have.
Go
I
ahead.
just need to press upload and it's done.
Press upload
You want
then.
me?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. There you go.
But yeah, this is for day 3, so pretty much the same. But again, Doc.
Yeah, I flip-flop, as I
Changing-
said before.
changing.
I
But you
do
know,
not see the hope for today.
we'll see.
I do not see it.
I'm also. I mean, I want to believe, but after the first 2 days, I don't think like overnight we're gonna change. But guys, I'm happy to see that the community is on the side of Fnatic. You've got our backs, so we'll see if we can catch up a point on Doc. Just quickly, obviously, as this is the podcast for this week, we've already done our predictions for the next. So let me share that as well straight with you. Boom, boom, boom. Can I find it? I believe I've got it here. Do I have the right one? I do have the right one. So
Show us the sheet.
the sheet is here, dude, and I believe we have roughly the same. Oh, you have SK instead of Misfits. Why is that, Doc?
Yes, I do. Because I'm not saying I'm on the SK hype train,
Mhm.
but I think the performance we've seen from the 4 rookies coming in for SK was worth it putting some hype into them, and I'm not fully sold on Misfits yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I can just give it a shot because I think if SK repeats their performance against G2, I think they can beat Misfits. I think up until what was it? Up until the later fights, because I think they made wrong decisions in the team fighting, and that lost them the game.
Right.
Because early on, I think it was super fine for them. So I think if SK gets rolling as they did against G2, like have a good start to the game, have the early game going for them, I think they can beat Misfits. And I'm just not putting enough weight, I guess, on the Misfits bot lane. I'm not absolutely sold on the team as a whole. Like their performance against Fnatic was good. Fnatic also performed really poorly, but then Misfits lost relatively clear to Vitality. So
Yeah.
not trying to apply a chain logic, but I think I can have some hype for the SK roster, and I think having 4 rookies succeed in a new team, I think that would be really good for the league as a whole as well. So maybe it works. Maybe they will.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think even though Misfits didn't have a great game yesterday, I still think there's a solid core, and I think Vander's definitely gonna be a big plus in that game against SK and on their map presence. Obviously, I see you've voted against Fnatic again. Jesus Christ, dude. Why do I even have you on there?
I have them winning against Vitality because I think they can beat them. But again, I think I'm not entirely sure. Like I think Matt performed really well with Armwood in the top lane as well, and I think Alyoya had a decent performance. Not necessarily against G2, but I think it was still okay. And if Fnatic continues to struggle, they if Fnatic continues to struggle, they should lose to Mad. I'm not saying they lose really hard, but I think it would be a really close game, and I think the game today and the game next week, Saturday, like the game against Vitality, we say a lot about how Fnatic, like especially the game against Fnatic, against Vitality, will say how much the team improved from this week, how much they learned. And if they beat Vitality convincingly, then I'm sure they can beat Mad. But unless we see the performance we had the last 2 days again, or just slight improvements, which I think won't be enough, I think it's low-key still doomed against, for me, top contenders like Mad.
Yeah. For this game in particular, I'll be looking at Bwipo against Armut, because if Bwipo gets styled on against Armut, it's over. It's just I'm just gonna cry in a corner, and I'll have a hard time believing anything, Buipo is telling in terms of his performance. Just like, dude, just show up or shut up at this stage. But with that said, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Picks and bans have already started, I believe. So just want to thank you again
Thanks
for
a lot.
being there. Really appreciate you giving us your time, giving us your ears, giving us your opinions. If you want to, or if you like the show and you want to see the next week and the next week and the next week again, we have pinned in the comments of the community podcast. You can subscribe to any notifications coming your way. We're gonna post once again a type form after this show, just to collect your opinion, your feedback. Super valuable. We've already applied some for today, but we're really interested in knowing more. So yeah, once again, thank you everyone. Thank you Discord community. Thank you
Thanks a lot,
Lyndon
guys.
for helping out, and have a great show, and always Fnatic. Let's go, boys.
See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.